nowadays we get the occasional AI logging on and they start recording it and they start note taking and you just can't keep track of everything. But
Yeah, AI. It's everywhere.
mhm. Anyway, Hefsey, I think it's really up to your discretion as to when we should start this and how you want to introduce it. And I hope you'll introduce our speaker. But in fact, I don't think she's listening to me. But okay. FC, I think whenever you think that we're ready to go, you should start the meeting.
Right. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. And thanks for your time this afternoon. So I am your host/facilitator this afternoon, and I'm Dr. Hefsitega, representing the academic city team. People tend to jump on as the call is going. We also have a special guest with us this afternoon who will be doing a presentation along regulatory devices, and I will introduce her in due course. So just to get us started, we tend to go around to see who we have on the call. So if everyone wants to just introduce them, just your name and who you're representing on the call or why you're here. Right. Good. And Nadia, I think you're unmuted. Do you want to go next?
I'm so Hefsey, are you asking for everybody to just say hello or just new people?
Just hello and no.
Okay, well, I'm Lee Makowski. I'm at Northeastern University in Boston, and it's a lot colder here than in Ghana.
Hello, I'm Mark Fuller, also a faculty member at Northeastern in Boston, where actually it's pretty warm today compared to yesterday. It's above freezing.
Hello, I'm Nadia. I'm a field service engineer at KD Global Healthcare in Ghana. Nice to meet everyone.
Great.
Maybe I can go next. My full name is Patience Dapa. I go by the name Paddy, and I work in Path, also in Ghana. And it's hot here. Thank you.
All right, I'm Dr. Daniel, faculty at Academic City University, director of the Bio-Innovation Center at ACT. Thank you.
Kiki, Kwabi. Louisa, Nathan, Richard. Do you want to just say hello and
Hi, I'm Kabuki. I go by Kiki. Joining in from Ghana Health Service, Clinical Engineering Unit, Ashanti region.
Great, thank you.
Hi, I'm also Michael Awa, Professor Michael Awa with Academic City University. Hi to all.
Hello, Michael. Good to be here.
Hi, I'm Nathan Mensah from the University of Health and Allied Sciences in Ho, Ghana. Nice to meet you all.
Lovely. Nice to
Great.
see
It's been a great effort to get you here today. Hey, it's been a long time. So we want to see you and your team always, okay? Whoa. Oh, that's good.
Hi everyone, my name is Ya and I'm with Cleveland Clinic here in the UK.
you. Excellent.
Good.
Hi
Anyone?
Erica.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, my name is Grace. I'm a student of All Nation University. Final year in Ghana.
Great.
Thanks, Clinton. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Last 30-second call. Is that everyone?
Hello, I am Entry, a fifth year pharmacy student at UHAS. Nice to meet everyone.
Great, nice to meet you. Final 30-second call. Okay, so moving on then, Lee, should we share a few words about the Bio-Innovation Consortium? Would you like to do that before I introduce Erica?
I'm sorry, I had a problem with I'm not sure what you just asked me to do.
Would you like to share a few words about the 4GBI consortium before I bring
Sure.
on Erica? Great, thank you.
So, as I said, I'm at Northeastern University, and a couple of years ago, we started working closely with Academic City University with the goal of trying to find ways to foster the development of biomedical device and instrumentation industry in West Africa. The motivation for that being that it's very clear that although all instruments and devices used in medical treatment in Ghana come from abroad, for the most part, they're designed to be optimized in clinics for use in Europe and North America. And for the vast majority of time, they're not really all that well optimized for the conditions under which they're being used in West Africa. So we feel that it's very important that devices and instruments optimized for use in West Africa are being designed, developed, manufactured, and distributed locally within Ghana. We feel like that is the quickest way, or the only way, to put together a set of resources that are going to improve the ability of all of the great healthcare workers in Ghana to deliver the best care for their patients. And we found that Fred McMagan-Lurie, the president of Academic City, was extremely open to this effort, and we established the Bio-Innovation Center at Academic City as a partnership between Northeastern University, Academic City University, and a nonprofit called 4GBI that we've set up here in the States. And 4GBI includes many people who are Ghanaian who live in the States, but who have a great deal of connections in Ghana. And so this triplet of institutions is trying to work together to find ways to foster the development of a biomedical device industry in Ghana. And we found that it's a remarkable challenge because it requires expertise in engineering, in medicine, in commercialization, entrepreneurship, regulatory affairs, and we realized, I think it was maybe Dr. Yaporo who first realized that the partnership we have to develop the center just isn't big enough for the problem that we are facing. And he suggested that we develop a consortium where we can get all of the institutions in West Africa that are interested in trying to foster the sorts of the developments that we're working on to come together and have a conversation, develop a community that can better try and move this initiative forward. I thought it was a great idea. And so I believe that this is the 10th consortium meeting that we have. We have them once a month. And we bring in speakers like Erica Sosu, whom you're going to hear about in a few minutes. And it's also an opportunity for us to learn more about what is going on in the different institutions in West Africa. And hopefully this will find a way to foster partnerships that will be more effective at moving forward and making progress in the challenges that we face. So I'm delighted to be a part of the consortium. I'm always looking for ways that Northeastern University can help to contribute to the consortium. And I'm delighted today to have Erica Sosu to speak. And I also want to point out that Hefsi Tego, who's the chair of biomedical engineering at Academic City, is also acting as the director of the Bio-Innovation Center, while Dr. Yaporo is visiting an institution in upstate New York here in the States. So I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted that Dr. Sosu is here, and I'm going to hand it back to Hefsi to run the rest of the meeting.
Great, thanks for that in-depth overview. And again, pleasure to have you all here. We want to spread the word far and wide. So if you do have anyone within the medical innovation space, clinical engineering, innovation, etc., who has not heard of this consortium but could benefit from contributing to the conversation, do please invite them on. It's always the third Thursday of the month, and it's always at 2:30, and it's always on this link. So yes, it's all hands on deck for the love of Ghana. Great. So moving on, I will introduce our guest speaker for this afternoon. It was really honored to be connected with Erica. The first time we had conversation, very knowledgeable and insightful in her area of expertise. And so I should say engineer Erica, perhaps. She's a medical electronics engineer and has over 18 years experience in the field of medical engineering, both from Ghana and in the UK. Of course, with 18 years under her belt, she would have, worked through various areas when it comes to medical devices space. But then one of the positions she's held includes medical engineering within physics department at one of London's major tertiary hospitals for over 13 years. Now, her expertise includes medical device safety, management, technical leadership, training, mentoring, setting up new systems, development of the technical documentation is very important that goes into the quality systems and compliance side of device maintenance. In her current role as the medical device safety and governance lead in another super busy London hospital, she promotes the medical device safety incident reporting, leads technical investigations within the organization. Now, she provides expert guidance on medical device safety and governance, and that's really aimed at enhancing learning and continuous improvement to achieve better and safer patient outcomes. I'm sure we all appreciate in the field of biomedical engineering, safety is pretty key. And so she also promotes systems thinking and just culture in her investigations, perceiving these incidents as opportunities for lessons to be learned and safety improvements, right? So every mistake is a learning curve. In her line of work, she's received several recognitions, including the Outstanding Service of the Year Award, Rising Star at the national level, and a finalist for the National Chief Scientific Officers Award for Clinical Leadership. In her personal time, she enjoys unwinding by watching quality entertainment on television. I'd like to know what show you enjoy watching best, with particular interest in football tournaments, right? Aside the sports. So, ladies and gentlemen, students here and far, it's a real pleasure to have Erica Sosu with us this afternoon. And Erica, I will hand over to you to share your very insightful knowledge over the years with the rest of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That was really interesting. And sometimes it's amazing to hear somebody talk about you, and it's really empowering. Thank you so much. Right. I am going to share my screen for a little presentation that I have made on the topic.
Okay, we can see it.
Can see that. Perfect. Thanks, Dr. Tego, for the introduction. Yeah, and just in summary, yes, my background is mainly technical work and hands-on engineering, and no academia, mainly in the workshop. So what I'll be talking about today will be drawing from my experience in my role as a medical device safety officer in my current job. So what I want to talk about today is the medical device safety and governance and its role in bio-innovation. Bear with me. So for the purpose of my background, I just would like us to just familiarize ourselves or remind ourselves with WHO's definition of medical device, which is any instrument or apparatus that is designed for human use, purposely to alleviate disease and support therapeutic work. That is the WHO definition. So based on that, my background will be more on medical devices governance. And that could be single-use devices, reusable devices. As we can see now, there are software-driven devices and AI-driven devices, all in the content of medical devices. You would agree with me that innovation is changing rapidly and is shaping the way diagnosis and therapeutic experience for patients are in healthcare industry. And you would agree that traditional devices that used to be huge, bulky devices have now all been changed to more smaller, compact, smarter devices, some AI-driven, software-driven technologies, and even robotics in some assisted surgeries. It's just changing the landscape of medical technology worldwide. And in the UK, for example, the government has a 10-year plan, and the plan is to move hospitals or hospital away from the traditional hospital environment to what we call a hospital at home, so virtual wards, which means that we'll be seeing an increase in this medical grade portable wearable devices all along now. And that is another stage of innovation. So in summary, this is just a little picture of what...
You ended your call.
The material science. The bio. Which I don't know. Unless I'm looking for. I'm busy.
Your mic is on.
It wasn't supposed to be an issue because, CAD count, our students don't need CAD count. So we said, once they come to do it to level 300, he
right,
starts
I hope
from
you can hear me.
That's what they've done. So let's use that time to a...
I've muted her. She didn't realize she was unmuted.
Okay. So as you can see on the screen now, this is no longer a dream or sci-fi movie. It's happening. We are seeing portable, wearable, wireless devices, remotely connected, that people can use. There's robotic surgery going on somewhere else in the world, especially in UK. We've got that happening in some parts of the country already. So moving on, why does safety and governance matter? Because as you've already seen from those photos and what we already aware, we can see that innovation is pushing the boundaries of medical devices. And we must remember that medical devices are used on human beings. And as such, what goes on into human beings, be it implants, must be safe. If it's even a given set that fluid passed through, it has to be biocompatible, so it doesn't transfer chemicals into the body. And also decisions, clinical decisions are made on device results that we get from devices. So we need to get things right. And if we don't get them right, patients could be at harm. And things that we're supposed to do to actually help them, we may rather be introducing risk to them. The other reason why we need to be concerned is the fact that we see a lot of portable devices now, and where hospitals are now virtually at home. We have, as I've already mentioned, portable devices being used almost everywhere. We have a generation of people who are so keen to take on preventative measures by looking after themselves. So they are willing to buy any medical devices to make sure that they are monitoring their BP or sugar levels and other things. So there is a lot of risk being introduced out there. In the UK, you'll be surprised to know that even though these figures are underreported, there were about 56,000 medical devices related incidents in 1 year, 2024 to 2025, even though this has been significantly less reported, not a lot. It's underreported. That's what I mean to say. But you would agree with me that the risk is there and we need to do something about it. Now, what do we need to do? This is where governance comes in. We need to ensure that we have effective governance in place. We need to ensure that we are collaborating with regulatory bodies and at the onset and following frameworks and quality standards to make sure that our products or our innovative ideas are safe enough for the patients and the all stakeholders involved. The users can also get hurt or be injured due to device fault, not only the patients. So there are some regulations, regulatory bodies that we are already familiar with. So we've got the Food and Drug Administration from the US, United States, the Medicines and Healthcare Regulatory Agency. For the UK, we have the European standards, the medical devices and regulatory CE marking, quality standards, risk management. There are a lot of resources out there and regulatory bodies out there that we can fall on to govern our products to make them safe. Now, again, as I mentioned, I'm just drawing from my experience. So what works well as a medical devices safety officer from my experience, what I have seen working. So in the UK, for example, manufacturers have specific regulatory and obligations to report safety concerns to the regulatory body, which is the MHRA. And they have to have post-market surveillance as well to make sure that any incidents or concerns are raised and monitored. These can be field service notices, which are communications with safety issues that are sent to organizations, including people like myself, medical devices safety officers, where we work with the company to report internal incidents to them. And then on the other hand, they are also able to report field service actions, corrective actions or recommendations to us. And having that platform open ensures that we are continuously monitoring and communicating safety concerns and addressing them appropriately. So we do have incidents reported or adverse incident events, adverse events being reported to the company and they addressing. We have they coming back to us with software upgrade issues, or if there's a concern about product recall, we've got that channel of communications to address all the safety needs to ensure that the patient is safe, including if there is an update on user guidance, we need to know that so the users are aware of what has changed and how to use the device effectively. What also works is that we have seen a lot of improvement in device design where they are very robust. They've taken into consideration what materials are being used, where they are not breaking down easily. Some devices have the plastic or the body of the device not very durable, and that can cause a lot of leakage into the device and causing fluid ingress and damage and affecting the performance of the device. We have also seen that there has been improvement in how the how faults are interpreted when they occur. So there used to be occasions where when a medical device fails, you would only see an error code and you may not be able to interpret and know what that error means unless you wait and speak with the company who would then take a big encyclopedia and then interpret that error code for you. But with newer designs and what makes our work a bit more easier is to make those faults easy to understand so that the user can actually take actions to mitigate any risk and also for learning purposes. We also see when the stakeholders are involved or have been trained properly, when there is a package or a plan to actually have them trained properly so that they understand the limitations of the device. So that also helps so they can actually manage the devices themselves instead of waiting on things that they are not sure of. They are able to understand errors and then take actions appropriately. Also, what we have seen and we are also advocating is what we call systems thinking, and that is to encourage design of new equipment to fit the workflow. So gone were the days that when a device fails, it's very easy to say it's a user error, but we need to take a different approach, systems thinking approach, to ensure that all the systems around the use of the device is working appropriately. So it could just be the environment, the tools, the people, everything, the organizational culture, all those things have something to play. So we are encouraging that devices should not only be designed to be perfect, but they should be in a way that when faults arrive, they can still be bypassed and still function properly. Again, what also works well is when the devices have predictive maintenance prompt. When the device is due for service, it can actually alert the user that this is due for service, and that reduces the risk of them using something that they shouldn't be using. So it also helps, and the maintenance team can also proactively plan how to get the services in place without disrupting the flow of clinical needs as well. And the other thing is what we all know that we've all seen, especially during the COVID, the issue with the post oximeter bias. we as device safety officers. Now, when there is procurement of new devices, we also querying those issues and understanding if these devices have worked elsewhere better with different background and different locations, if they've worked better. And similar to what I've said earlier, it's to encourage people to report incidents. So just culture, not apportioning blame, encouraging people to actually report incidents or things that they are not happy with in terms of device safety, where we can just have a system thinking view of what actually happened so we can learn from it instead of blaming. So in short, what we have we've been doing is to engage with all stakeholders, engage with users, encourage them to take part in procurement exercises so we can learn from their experiences, what works well for them, what didn't work well from them. We also make sure that safety concerns are addressed from incidents that have been raised in the past. We also have the technical people on board so that they are able to understand or be comfortable with management of those devices if they were to come into circulation. So yeah, it's a teamwork that we do, and the main aim is to ensure that the devices that are out there are safe for patients' use. So the regulations that we have and we follow are the ones that actually guide us to do what we need to do. And they've been so robustly done that actually support the work of governance. The other thing that I don't know if I missed a slide, but there was, yes, I did. I didn't miss it. So there was, I haven't seen any regulation, even though I've mentioned regulations in the United States, FDA's, MHRA, European. There isn't anything for African countries that we can draw up on. And I think that ties on with what the whole innovation center and the idea of the innovation that Lee talked about earlier. We need to be having something that really works for our region, and also to have governance in place that are specifically tailored for this. In thinking, if we were to think that way, we need to be aware of the innovative devices such as AIs and softwares being regulated as well. So we need to start tuning our mind towards that. So in conclusion, yes, innovation is good, but we need to make sure that we are making it safe by thinking about things that work well for in other areas and things that didn't work well in terms of governance, so that we are able to save lives rather than causing harm to patients, because sometimes this harm can be very deadly and life-changing. I think that is my last slide because I didn't want to bore everybody. So thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Great. Thank you very much for that insightful overview, Erica. I am still on campus, so the Wi-Fi is a bit glitchy, but I'll open the floor if anyone has any questions or contributions to Erica's presentation before I come in with my questions.
Well, I'll jump in with a couple of questions. Erica, thank you. That was great. It was thoughtful and it made me think, which is what a presentation should do. I'm interested with regard to the regulatory framework. some of it must be to do with, hold on here. I think somebody just unmuted. I'm trying to mute them. I don't seem to be, oh, wait, hold on. Okay. So, okay, sorry. There was some background noise, so I tried to mute the person who's, so with regard to the regulatory issues, some of that must drive design of the instruments. Other parts, I wonder if there's anything to do with training, because of course, a device which is misused, can cause as much a device, a safe device, if misused, can be very dangerous. And so it really is important to think about the training. And the other issue, and design and training are really connected, because I've seen devices. I think I've got one in my kitchen that is so complicated that I have real trouble being able to use it in a reasonable fashion. And I wonder, in terms of the regulatory framework, how much of the framework is due to is addressing design, and how much of it takes into consideration complexity and training. You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
When there is a lot of user error when incidents do happen. It's mainly due to either lack of training, or the user interface is so complex that people struggle to understand. So I think how this is being addressed locally is by standardizing devices where there is a lot of them. For example, in an organization where we have a lot of infusion devices, say 1,000 infusion devices, you prefer to have them all having the same brand, so that the users are familiar with the interfaces to reduce this user errors. In terms of devices, yes, when we do procurement and we are evaluating, we look at those as well. So that gives an indication to the manufacturer what users really want. In the terms of the framework, yes, there is a little line about it should be intuitive and user-friendly and easy to operate. But then it boils down to how innovative or how creative the engineering want to do that. So yes, there is an element of user interfaces and user training playing a big part in risk safety, medical devices safety.
Okay, thank you very much.
So
I'm sure. Go ahead, Mark.
So we talked a little bit about when devices are, not working properly, and they, how to repair them and not affect patient care. Do you have? I'm trying to remember the name of the fellow from Ghana who talked about, not having equipment, the manufacturer train local people. And as of somebody who's worked in industry, I know they do that on purpose. They make it so that they want a maintenance contract and they want you to have their people fix it. And there's some valid arguments for that. But do you, both in England and if you have an experience in Ghana and addressing that, and what do you do about it?
So in the UK, what we do is at the point of procurement, we make sure user training is part of the package we are buying. So if we evaluate the procurement or evaluation pack and we compare the level of training that you are given and it's not what we want, then you will be scoring low for that. So we, at the point of procurement, we encourage that package. Then organizations do encourage that it's actually part of our MHRA regulation for medical devices management in the UK, and training is part of that. So as part of that regulation, organizations must ensure that there is a robust training plan in place to take those boxes. So having that in mind, you would want to make sure that the service you are buying is able to support that training for you, and then you are able to empower in-house staff to take on training. This is both for user training and technical training. In my previous trust, I was the trust devices training manager, and that was my main role, to ensure that staff were be as a hospital or as a trust were compliant, and also for litigation issues as well. So that is happening. When I worked in Ghana, that was in 2002 to 2025 before I moved to the UK. Then I moved to the UK because at that time there was no university offering biomedical engineering degree at the time. That was when I came to the UK. And I saw a number of devices being brought in, but there's no training plan, especially when they were donated and people didn't know how to use them. I have also encountered senior engineers feeling that because they are senior enough, they should know how to use them without making reference to the technical service manual, user manual. There is this misconception at the time. I cannot say that now because I'm not there. So yes, there used to be a huge challenge in Ghana, and compared to here, I think there is a better system here. I hope what is happening in Ghana is gradually changing or is going to change, but it will need to start from the beginning of procurement, acquisition of the device.
All right.
Thank you.
Great, thanks for that. A question?
I have a question.
What's the yes, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello, Erica. Thank you very much for your presentation. Okay, so as a field engineer here, we have a lot of the equipment that come into the country coming from Asia, especially China. And I know that the regulation
I think you've just been muted. We heard the first part of your question, but not the second part. I think we may have lost that questioner. I don't know.
I don't know if there's anything in the chat.
Hello, did you get my question?
No, you suddenly seem to have gotten muted. So I think we heard the first half of the question. So I think you have to start over.
Okay. All right. So my question was, like, here in Ghana, a lot of the equipment or medical devices that we use in our various hospitals, they come from Asia, especially China. And I know over there, their regulatory bodies, they vary a lot. And it's not like standardized, all of them follow one certain, rule book. And also here in Ghana, we have very few regulatory bodies, especially when it comes to medical devices that are not sort of like, I'll say, strong. So how do we ensure that the devices that we are purchasing or that we are procuring to use in the various hospitals, that ask the engineer service and look after are not harming the patient instead of helping them when it comes to their safety.
That's interesting. I would say that it's really helpful if from acquisition stage, engineers' opinion are sought. So here in where we work or in the UK, well, I don't know if it happens everywhere, but in the trust that I've worked, we pull resources from all the different areas to make sure that what we are buying is actually going to work, because we are able to draw from our experience what worked and what didn't work and put that in. So it will be really good if you are able to negotiate your way into those decision making to ensure that your voice is heard, your challenges are heard, and they are addressed. And you can make them aware that without having this done the way that you feel it should, then you, as an engineer, face a challenge of addressing those issues. I know devices come from everywhere, and mostly it's driven by cost. So sometimes it may not be the most robust or um, effective device that is needed for that clinical purposes. And so sometimes people just settle for anything. And that sometimes I do know that politics also drives that as well. So sometimes we do go for complex, expensive equipment, state-of-the-art equipment to show off what we can buy. But do we have the technology to support it? This is where somebody like yourself should be paving your way and making your voice heard and saying, look, these devices are coming in. These are the challenges we face. I've seen it before. We will prefer for it to be done this way with our support. Does that answer your question?
I think it does. It does. Thank you very much for your answer, America.
If you needed any more, just find a way of contacting me. I should be able to help.
That would be lovely. Yes. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Well,
Dr.
Tingo, this is path. Yes. Mine is not a question, it's more of a contribution. On the last call that we did for the consortium, this issue came up. And one of the things we talked about is the fact that sometimes when especially things are being donated to our facilities, we need to get our biomedical experts to look at them, examine them, and pass them as fit for purpose. The fact that we are poor and therefore sometimes have to rely on donor items does not mean that we should take in anything if we cannot use them. So our engineers need to examine what is being brought in, ensure that it's fit for purpose, and ensure that they have been trained to use those equipment and actually to fix them in case they go wrong, so that we can maintain them and use them for a very long time. It's sometimes very sad when money is spent, purchasing items and donating or giving them to a health facility to use, only to go on monitoring to find out that the equipment are just lying there. One part is not working, maybe a light bulb maybe is not working, but because nobody was trained to fix it, it just sits there and patients die. So if it's not fit for purpose, let's feel free to advise and say, this is good, but if we had something like this, it might be more useful to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks for that contribution. Any other contribution from the audience? And yes, for those joining us for the first time, if you missed the introductions at the beginning, we would love to have your emails in the chat so we can add you on to subsequent communications. Thanks for that prompt, Dr. Yiporo. Erica, I had one question actually. Obviously, one of the things that we're trying to do at the Bio-Innovation Center is the locally produced devices, etc. hopefully low cost if we can get it down to low cost. So where it comes to the medical device safety side of things for rural communities, what would be some of the key factors that we would need to consider, when we come to the local production of low-cost devices, bearing in mind a lot of the ones I imported, we know have a lot of functions that are not necessarily relevant to, our needs in developing countries. And so perhaps certain safety features may be ignored. I don't know if my question is clear.
Yeah, it is, and I think you've already answered your question, because I think when we come to local levels or rural areas, we need to examine and check what technology best work for them. They may not need devices that are used at the regional or district level or tertiary levels. So it's important to assess the clinical needs and see what procedures are produced there, and then tailor the equipment that needs to go there accordingly. There is no need for having a CT scanner in an area where you don't have a radiologist or a specialist to use them. So I think it's important to actually assess their needs, again, have clinical input. What procedures do they work on? Do they use what procedures, very basic procedures? Then we can tailor those manufacturing or supply of those equipment for that area. But we need to also bear in mind that when that becomes available for that area, it should be something that can also be used in other a broader community. So the main thing is to assess and identify what clinical needs are there, and then tailor the innovation or design of the equipment for that area. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thanks for that. I had one more. I'm curious to find out, the rollout of the cultural, let's report the issue first before blaming. So it's not about blame game, but we really need to understand what's going on. How feasible or how long did the reconditioning take? Because usually the first point, people don't want to get into trouble to be accused of breaking an equipment that costs millions of, thousands of, cities of house to purchase. So how has that worked well? I know you touched on it in your presentation, but practically, is it something that you're still battling with? Is it something that is now not an issue anymore?
Do you mean equipment breakage or reporting?
There's not the reporting of the breakage, I suppose. Yeah.
Yes, we do have systems in place. So we have databases that are controlled at the top governance level that encourages users to report issues that they have seen, and people are encouraged. Then they do it anonymously. So there's a database that you can do anonymously. You can put your name, and it's tightly controlled at the top. So if somebody sees something that is not happening right, they are able to report it. So for example, if somebody is seeing somebody operating a medical device that they have not been trained on, they have they've been encouraged to approach the person and say, do you need any training? Do you think you are comfortable with that? Can you speak with the line manager or your line manager to get support for that? So people are empowered to do that. In the absence of that, people are able to go on a database to report what they feel is going wrong, and then nobody is actually being blamed. And whoever is looking at it, myself as a device safety officer, I always say to people that even though I've got a technical background, when I'm investigating, I put my technical background behind because I don't want to be biased. So people investigate will need to have an open mind and think about where the challenges are. Sometimes there are no resources to train the people, but that is a challenge. Our regulation says that people need to have training. So the wards or department would need to find a budget to train people so they can use the device safely. If they are trained and they are still not functioning the way they should, then it calls for empowering others to make that issue known. We have to just have this mindset that it is not about you or a staff member. It's about patient safety. It's about the patient that we are all working towards. So yeah, it's just a system of that needs to come from the top, empowering people, making everybody aware the importance of reporting, why we have to do it. It's not to blame people. And if that happens, yes, we should learn not to blame people.
Great. Okay. Thanks for that. Any other questions? This is a 30 seconds to 1 minute call for any last minute questions or someone's thought of before we round up.
I can see Dr. Daniel's hand is up.
Yes, please, Doc, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I want to appreciate her for coming. It's been a while. We wanted to get her to the expo, but my notice was too late. But yet she kept on with us till this date, and I hope that she will not leave us. She will always be with us and share the experiences that she's gaining from out there. And I also want to appeal to others who have joined us for the first time that this is a monthly consortium meeting, and we are not only looking at the academicians, we are looking at technicians, we are looking at practitioners and everyone, and especially the government, because we cannot do this in isolation without the muscles of the state, because they are the one who can purchase most of this equipment. So in as much as we want to also produce in-house, we want to also contribute to the ones that are being imported in order to meet the needs of the people and our patients. So I want to appreciate everyone and to also share that let's invite our colleagues. It's not about just biomedical engineers. You can be a medical personnel, you can be a practitioner. Once you are providing support or services to a patient or to a system, you should be part of this, and we will drive this together. And most especially the technicians that we work with in producing some of the prototype, we should be able to get them into these meetings so that they will understand exactly what we want to do. And so when it comes to customizing products, they will actually buy into the ideas. And I want to encourage that our institutions should be participating fully, and we should encourage others to join us, especially the entrepreneurs and those who are into business, innovators and all that. We need them to share and also to make moves. And I believe that if this year's expo should come on, especially somewhere in a year, it should go better, and we should be better than what we did last year. And in fact, last year was really great. I'm looking forward to another successful meeting in Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Yiporo, and I think you've rounded us off nicely. So if there are no other hands up, I'd like to say huge thank you once again, Erica, for the insights you shared with us this afternoon. And we certainly would love for you to stay plugged in. And I see so much support that you can bring to the Bio-Innovation Center when it comes to the production and development of those locally produced medical devices. So thank you once again. And then final round of applause from the audience, please, for Erica.
Yes, thank you, Erica. And I just want to reemphasize one of the things that Dr. Yiporo said, which is put out the word. Tell your colleagues and your friends, your students, your co-workers about the consortium, because this is a community that really needs to grow. And I think we'll have interesting things happening every month. As Hefsey said, is it the third Thursday of every month at 2:30 p.m. GMT, and I'm looking forward to it. Erica, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have the conversation with our guest speakers for informal networking and chit chats, and anyone who wants to stay on and geek about medical devices in general. So this session is formally closed, but the call is open for anyone who wants to stay on. Thank you all very much for coming.